update on Miles Wood?
He is, he's a possibility for tomorrow, yeah. So we'll see, but he's a little sore today, we'll see what happens tomorrow morning.
Are you able to share what type of injury it was?
Well, he got hit in, upper body, yeah.
It's gonna be a bit of a relief given the reaction he had on the ice, right?
It didn't look good, but I mean, the fact that he's in here today moving around and feels better, I mean, he's a little sore, but we'll see what, they'll keep evaluating him today and they'll take a look at him in the morning and see what he's like, and we'll make a decision for tomorrow night.
Any update on Duran?
Drew's gonna miss some time. We just don't know how much. He won't play tomorrow, and neither will Taser tomorrow.
I know Eustace has gotten in a couple games, so that's maybe thrown off the rotation that you'd normally like. Are you guys wanting to get Eustace in a game here as a starter soon?
Yeah, we're discussing what we're gonna do for tomorrow, today, and so there's some varying opinions, but we'll make a decision as a group and come up with who goes in tomorrow. I mean, that's the thing, we got Gorgie working through it, getting better every game. Eustace has gone in a couple times, hasn't looked great. The urgency for us to get on the board with a win is here, So I guess we'll look at tomorrow's game, decide on who we think gives us the best chance, and that's who will play.
Is there any update on Kakinen's potential arrival time?
He's we got some good news on his immigration, so he still has a trip to the embassy that he has to do, and then hopefully he'll be heading this way.
Nate mentioned, I think it's 3 pretty solid games and 1 bad game. Do you feel like your team's pretty close despite the record right now? Getting back on track?
Well, we got to put the whole package together, right? I agree with that assessment. I liked a lot of things we did in Vegas. We've already kind of rehashed that, gave up some big mistakes that cost us. Second game against Columbus, I thought it was a really solid game. And then I didn't like game 3, and last night we competed hard, did a lot of good things. I loved our push late in the second, the entire third pretty much. Penalty kill kind of got us, and just were unable to get the equalizer. So it was a close game against a really good team, and I think we play with that type of fire and emotion, moving forward, and attention to detail, that good things will come.
You talked about with your defensemen that you were going to kind of switch them around depending on who you were matched up with.
Yeah.
And you've obviously done that. Is there things that you've seen with certain defensemen that you would prefer to use them specifically?
Well, I mean, I think they all have their strengths. One of the things I'm trying to do is keep them all active so we can actually see what they can provide for us, right? They're all new guys. So Ludwig got his first game the other night. Shillington's only played a couple. He's missed significant time in the prior years. So they're all still tightening up and figuring out, the systems and exactly where we want them to be. I think DeHaan's done a nice job getting quicker in the system, have a better understanding of it. He's obviously a stay-at-home defenseman type guy, so we could use a guy like that in the lineup. And then it's just kind of based on their play moving forward. But trying to keep them all active here early in the year, I think, is important, so they're feeling more and more comfortable. And then eventually we'll get to a spot and see, who we feel can most help us and kind of, run our lineup like that. That's what we're trying to do every night. But it's hard when they're only playing a game here and a game there, and lots of them have missed time and they're new to our system. So we'll continue to evaluate and lock things down as we go.
What have you thought of Oliver in the couple games he's played regular season?
Who's that?
Oliver Shillington.
He's been okay. Yeah, I think that we haven't seen his best, when it comes to his strengths, his puck moving, and he looks a little jumpy with the puck right now, I would say. And then I know that that's the strength of his game, his skating, his puck moving, what he can help provide offensively. It hasn't translated just yet. On the defensive side of it, he's working hard. There's some positional stuff that we're going through with him, trying to keep getting him more clear on what our coverage is like. Because I think the D zone and some of the coverage aspects are significantly different from Calgary, and he's missed a lot of time, right? So we're trying to get him back feeling comfortable in the game because he's got a lot of potential.
Now that you've had time to digest the game from yesterday, were there any other positives that stood out to you that maybe you didn't note last night?
Well, there's lots that I liked from that game, especially the second half. I actually liked their start too. So large stretches of the game. Here's what I liked the most. We were emotionally invested. We were physical. We competed really hard in all areas. We made some mistakes, but like that's what we were lacking from game 3. You know, that emotional investment, the commitment to check and play the right way. We had it last night. So still got to get better in some areas, but I think when you're looking at that specifically, playing to win, playing hard, being highly competitive, you know, with a strong work ethic, we had it last night.
You talked about all the different combinations you tried yesterday. It seems like Colton on that top line is working well. Are there any other combinations you're encouraged by?
Yeah, you know what? I didn't mind Midi and OC and Kovalenko. I thought that was a pretty good line for us. You know, the third period, Kovalenko made an impact. You know, we're limited with some options here, right? Trying to find lines that you like while still being able to have 3 to 4 lines that can go that you can trust, right? So it's a bit of a challenge. So we're evaluating during the game too, and just see how they're doing against some of the other lines that we're playing. So we may have to bounce guys around a little bit, but I thought that line did a nice job in the third period.
Jared, you mentioned that you're limited with options. He called it kind of annoying that you don't have some really world-class players right now. Is that how it is for you?
Well, no, I mean, I can see why it's like frustrating to the guys because like they're like the guys they're used to a rhythm of the way our team plays when it's full, right? And that's what you remember from last season, and that's what you're hoping for out of the gate. So I can see why it's annoying to those guys because it changes everything when you're missing like 1 player or 2 players and you get up to 5 or 6 and it's, you know, everything has to change. You got guys doing jobs that they're not used to doing at a level that some of them aren't used to doing it at even. So, but that, like for me, like I just have to worry about the guys that are in the room, right? Like who is available, and then we do the best we can with what is available. And the injuries never help, especially when they start stacking up like that. So we try to demand a little bit more out of everybody and give them a good understanding of what exactly we need from them as an individual, what we need from them as a line, try to create a little bit of an identity and turn them loose and hope they play well. You know, that's all we can do is put our best foot forward and play as hard as we can and as good as we can. Worry about our process and the results will take care of itself. We haven't got the results yet, but in 3 of these games I've liked a lot of the things that we've done. You know, the one was frustrating because it came after 2 losses, but we bounced back last night, didn't get the result we wanted. We got to keep pushing forward.
Last one.
I know I asked you about Ross Colton last night.
Yeah.
I was talking to Nate about what he kind of brings to his line, and obviously Gabe is a very unique player, but that grit that Colton brings to that line do you see that kind of being the advantage to him being out there? Is the grit?
Yes, like that's a prototypical player that I like to put with Mikko and Mac, right? Whether that's Lecky, Val, Landy, Colts recently, it's number one, you got to be a trusted defensive player because you're playing against other teams' top guys all the time. Number 2, you got to be able to handle those types of minutes because they played 24 last night, right? Lots of guys on our team can't handle that amount of minutes and still play with the fire and energy that's needed, right? He checks both those boxes. And then like when it gets to a little bit more specific, there's got to be a ruggedness to their game, like good forechecker that can come up with pucks in 50-50 battles and get those guys the puck. Not that they're not involved, but Max arriving down deep in the zone, Mikko could be making an entry play. We need someone to go check the puck back to give them the puck so they can play in ozone play. And the way those guys like to move off the puck and play with the puck in the offensive zone, a guy that likes to go to the net and it's hard at the net and competitive at the net is always something that's important for that line, and he does all those things. So he may be the fourth guy down the list on this, but he's played really well and he's done it. Yeah, I think he's excited for that opportunity and he's sort of thriving in that role.
Finish with Jesse. Got
So-
two more.
When you're at this point, you guys, still looking for a first win. I'm sure that makes the 4 losses feel a little bit more amplified. But 2, does your messaging at this point just purely become about, the video and where you guys can, continue to get better? Because I can't imagine there's much else you can say at this point, trying to rally guys.
Yeah, because we've been stressing the same thing. So after game 2, it was I got the feeling like we were tense and we were uptight a little bit and we were down a little bit. That I wanted to bring it back to perspective. Then the numbers support that we could have won both those games or one of the 2 of the games, and so we understand what our mistakes were in game 1. We were significantly better in game 2. Easily could have won that game. And then again, you reassess after game 3. It wasn't good enough. It just wasn't, and it was throughout our lineup, and that was the one that disappointed me as a coach. It's my responsibility to make sure everyone's ready to go and giving it their all, and we didn't do that. We bounced back and did it last night. Doesn't guarantee you a win, So, again, some consistency issues, but if we sort of take the mentality that we had last night and play the same passion, then, I like our chances.
Rachel, one more.
Tomorrow's Military Appreciation Night. What does it mean to you that the team hosts a night like this?
It's always a fun night. Always a fun night. I think you whenever you can get out people that proud patriots that have served our country and continue to serve our country. They go through a lot of sacrifices, right? Our life's pretty easy compared to some of the things that they have to go through, especially spending time away from family overseas or wherever they're deployed. Takes a lot of commitment to do that job. So having them out and hopefully putting on a good show for them and bringing them some joy and in an atmosphere where they can bring their families and friends, I think it's an awesome night, and we're glad to be part of it.
Thanks, Jared.
Yeah, thank you.